Hey, willkommen zu den NOISIV Interviews. Wir haben heute mit The Crookes vor ihrem Konzert im Molotow in Hamburg gesprochen. Wir haben natürlich über Lucky Ones gesprochen, ihr neues Album und natürlich auch über Anywhere Records, ihr eigenes neues Label. Und am besten schaut ihr euch den Rest aber mal selber an. Viel Spaß! Hey, welcome Daniel.
Thank you.
Big gig tonight in Hamburg, and you've been on the road for a few days now, I understand, right?
Well, we've been on the road since the end of January.
Yeah.
So a few months now, really. We had like a week off in between two of the tours. But yeah, since the European leg, we've been here, I think, about a week. Yeah, looking forward to Hamburg. Yeah. So it was good.
But it's still exciting to play, and to play in Hamburg especially.
Yeah, I think Hamburg was one of the first shows we did years ago at the Reeperbahn Festival.
Yeah.
Where
right here, I guess.
Yeah, well, it was the old Molotow.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, we played there about 5 or 6 times, and yeah, we really liked it. It was so difficult because the dressing room was like back here, and then the gigs were luckily always really busy, so you had to kind of like fight through the audience, and like doing an encore was a complete pain because you had to kind of get off, and it took about 15 minutes to get on off the stage. But it was always like in my head one of the kind of ideal venues of this size, like really sweaty and low ceilings, and everyone would go a bit crazy and dance loads, so always good.
Yeah, a beautiful gig is always amazing for the audience as well. Do you remember your first gig back when you started out being just a fan?
The first gig I went to, actually, funnily enough, our singer George, we both went to the same first gig, but in different parts of the tour. We both went to see the Vines, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think he saw Crowded House first, actually, but his first, I think his first one in this kind of venue. We both went to see the Vines, and yeah, it was amazing. I think it got me hooked pretty much straight away.
Yeah. Was it a concert in Sheffield or?
It was in Nottingham, which is my hometown. So yeah, I started getting there, and then I saw like the Strokes in a 100 capacity venue and bands like that around that time. So I got to see some good things before they kind of those bands blew up, like in the smaller stages, which is always really nice. Yeah.
Nice. That's the best part about.
Yeah. So with the Strokes one, it was a bit annoying because I only knew one song at the time. I think I only knew.
First record.
Well, I think I only knew Last Night at the time because I just came out and did this really small venue.
Yeah.
And then I got the Is a Sit and fell in love with it and knew every song. But then the next time I saw them in Nottingham, they played in the Ice Arena, so they went from this small one to an arena. Yeah. So I was like, I wish I'd known more songs back, the first time, but it was still good.
I guess pretty much everyone knows that feeling, some kind, at some point in their lives. That was also inspiring to start your own band, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, like when we started the band, we was at university in Sheffield, and I think, like myself and George, were more interested in going to see gigs. We were going to a lot of similar gigs, just same race imitation music, so we ended up at a lot of the same places. And then we kind of thought, screw this. What's the degree going to get me? I mean, we finished our degrees, but we kind of thought I'd rather be touring. So I think our last year of university, we were on tour for pretty much all of it. Missed all our seminars, missed all our lectures. Managed to just get by. Yeah.
Just do it, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just get on with it.
Let's talk about your new record, Lucky Ones. What I've just before listening to it, what I thought was quite interesting. It's your first record with a colorful artwork, with a bright one. How did that come around?
It was a bit weird, really. Yeah, I mean, to be completely truthful, the reason why the last 2 records were black and white was because it was cheaper on our record label at the time. We're like, we can't pay for colour. So we've got our own record label this time, so we could afford to. Well, yeah, we made the decision, but I think the record itself is more colourful. The last one, I think, we were in at least I was in quite a dark place, figuratively and literally, because we were in the mountains in the middle of nowhere in winter. But this album a lot of it was written whilst we were in America, having a lot of fun, and we think it sounds colour. I always see songs in colours. It's like there's a term synesthesia, which I always have. I'll hear a song, and especially our own songs, and I'll see a colour of that song. And the last album was very much black and white, a very monochrome album, whereas this album, I think, sounds, at least musically, more colourful. So we kind of thought we'll get the artwork like that as well to reflect that.
Is there a difference in the songwriting process for you to undergo those colorful ones in contrast to the black and white monochrome ones?
Not so much in the process. I mean, I think it was just more the place you. I feel like some writers will be like, right, let's write a pop song, for example, and then they'll consciously try and write that. But for me, it's always just been an outpouring of whatever I'm feeling at the time. And fortunately, I was a lot happy when I wrote this album. So at least the lyrics are more colourful and more happy. In terms of process, I mean, we lost our old drummer, so we kind of said let's do things differently. And I think, yeah, we were kind of liberated slightly in the sense that we weren't imposing boundaries on ourselves in the studio. Before we did everything very much live, kind of stuck it to sort of 2 guitars, bass, vocals, drums. Whereas this one, like there's a lot more synths and that kind of thing, and effects, and we experimented a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, that also reminded me a lot of the stuff The Cure did in the 80s, or the Smiths, or New Order, which sounds just amazing to me. Did you listen to them a lot while writing the record?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we're all influenced by those kind of bands anyway. And I think we started a lot of the time programming drum beats for this one. I mean, we got our drummer to actually play on the record, but in the earliest forms we didn't have a drummer, so we were using programmed drum beats, and that made it sound a little bit like New Order or something. But there's a really good I read a Robert Smith interview, and he was talking about how the Cure had got this reputation for being very gloomy and, you know, gothic, and he didn't like that, so he came back and wrote loads of pop bangers and came out with Friday I'm in Love and was like, yeah, gloomy, but then take this, you know, like one of the sort of amazing pop song. I think to a lesser extent, but that kind of approach of like our Soapbox was very dark, and we kind of thought, you know, let's just do a pop album. I mean, we all like pop music. Well, that's kind of our biggest influence, really. So, you know, things like ABBA would be things we were listening to a lot, especially like the keyboard sound on SOS. That's like an amazing, like MGMT use that keyboard sound quite a lot. They rip it off, and people probably don't realise that, but it sounds like ABBA's incredibly complicated music. Like I'm a big fan. People always laugh when I say I like ABBA, but I think it's amazing pop writing. So yeah, that kind of stuff was what we were listening to. Yeah,
I heard you guys refer to your own pop style, saying that you do new pop or almost pop or intelligent pop, so to say, right?
Yeah, new pop. Someone, a DJ called Steve Lamacq from England, coined that, which we quite liked. We used that, and then almost pop. I'm a big fan of. It's like something gone a bit wrong. It's like pop music's gone a little bit wrong.
Secret in it.
Yeah, which I quite like, and yeah. Then we someone said they balls out pop, which I quite liked. Sort of pop, but like with a kind of rocky edge to it, I suppose. All fine, as long as it's got pop in there, I'm generally quite happy.
Yeah. Have you got a favorite, your own personal favorite off the record?
I went to look at it because I forgot. I like playing Roman Candle live because it's the only song, because I play like keyboards and a lot of like synths on a lot of these songs. But like as well as guitar, so I'm sort of switching between the two. Oh. But Roman Candle is nice because I get to just play synth on it, put the guitar down, and so that's quite fun. And then No One Like You, I think, is my favourite song. Yeah, we got a brass band in to come and play with that with us. And
yeah, you can clearly hear that out. It's just
it was cool. So I think that's my favourite. I really like. It's quite like grand sounding, quite epic sounding. Yeah. Which I like. Yeah.
Can you see?
I've got plenty of those.
Can you see playing the synths another time for the next record maybe could come?
Yeah, I reckon so. I enjoyed it. We in the studio we were quite lucky because it was the studio was kind of part owned by a guy called Nick who plays keyboards in the Kaiser Chiefs. And he had like loads of old synths that he keeps at the studio, so he kind of left them around for us to just experiment on, and that was like we kind of a lot of the songs ended up changing direction because we'd be playing around with some old brilliant synth and be like, oh, that sounds great, and let's see if you can put this on there. So yeah, I think we'll probably do more of that, I imagine. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, so they just happened to be there to your luck.
He said we could have them. Yeah, he was very helpful.
Like you said already, it's the first record coming from Anywhere Records, your own label now. Would you consider it your most personal one yet?
The record.
Yeah, Lucky Ones.
Most personal in what sense?
Like you did your own, you have your own label now. You have completely control over the record.
Yeah, I think when you've got someone else doing things for you, and this isn't just a musician, life in general, then it kind of works two ways. If they make a mistake and it goes wrong, you can blame them. But then if it goes right, then you can sort of, you pass them the credit. But doing it ourselves means that there's no one to blame. It's like whatever happens, it's down to us, and I quite like that, because I'd get frustrated when a decision would be made. I wouldn't agree with it, but I'd be like, well, it's their kind of thing. Now it's like we can make decisions, and if it's wrong, then at least any fault was with us. I quite like that.
What's the greatest part about being your own boss now?
I don't know. I suppose I can't get fired, but yeah, I don't know. It's not that different, really. We did quite a lot of it anyway.
Yeah. What's to expect label-wise this year? Any new signings or something?
I don't know. It's something we want to kind of look into. I think soon is kind of the first kind of official intake of how well we've done with this record. It takes a while to kind of count up how many you've sold and stuff like that. I think we get the final figures for like the first quarter or first, half, whatever it is, soon. And I think once we've got that and we kind of know how successful it's been, then I think we'll definitely like the idea of putting out maybe some sort of singles at first, just like a few artists who we really like, and putting out like newer artists, and maybe putting out one of their singles or something, and giving them a bit of help and trying to give them a leg up as well. And maybe that was something we're looking at in the future, hopefully.
That would be amazing, I guess. There are a lot of artists out there who just need support and look for it.
I think so. I think you all need a sort of having started at the bottom, like you need a little break in. It was a small thing and that leads you to the next thing. And I think luckily we know how it's done now, so we can, I think we'll be in a good position to sort of take on a new artist and support them in the right way, I think.
As we're about to wrap things up, speaking of 2016, it's been a terrible year so far in terms of deaths in the music industry. And now everybody's out there covering Bowie, covering Prince, and at gigs and festivals. Can you see the Crookes coming up with something like that?
We did a Prince cover a long time ago. We did a cover of When You Were Mine, which is a really great song. There's a really weird lyric in it about he's talking about this girl and saying that I didn't really care when I was with you, but now you're with somebody else, I want you, which is just basic human nature, and how men are all idiots in that sense. But then he talks to this line about now I spend my time following him whenever he's with you, which I really liked, really resonated. A very weird line. Then maybe we can reprise our Prince cover, perhaps. If we can remember how to do it.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And I need to know one more thing. I've heard the German version of Bloodshot Days.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it? It's amazing.
I don't know. I had nothing to do with that. And
you didn't write it.
Well, I wrote the English version, and then someone translated it, and I don't speak any German or very little German, so I had no idea whether it had been translated well. And it kind of frustrates me because I was like, well, you could be saying anything. You could be, singing about being a massive racist or something, and I'll have no idea what you were saying. But hopefully, it's fairly accurate.
Yeah,
in English, that's not a phrase. That isn't a thing in England, like Bloodshot Days. That's like just something I made up. Yeah. So I don't know how you translate that to German and it have the same meaning. But
well, you get it. You get it. It's a meaning in German as well. It's not a phrase you use here as well, but you get the point.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, George, we don't play that song anymore, but when we used to play it on maybe like the last tour of Germany, George would do it in German, and the audience would just be laughing most of the time. And I don't know if they knew it was German either. They were like, you're singing Danish or something? He was like, no, it's German. He was like, so I don't think we'll be doing that again.
Would you do us a favor and sign your copy for the fans outside? So thank you, Daniel, for the interview.
Thank you very much, man.
We're about to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. We're out. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuschauen. Wir haben natürlich noch weitere Sachen für euch im Programm. Sessions, Interviews, Podcasts und wahrscheinlich noch vieles mehr. Schaut einfach mal rein und abonniert uns. Wir würden uns sehr, sehr darüber freuen. Bis dann.